Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another VRL League race. And we're here in Canada. This is the Monday Night Racing League. And before we get on to tonight's race, we'll have a think about what happened last time out. So if you haven't yet watched it, please go back and watch that if you're watching this on repeat. If you're obviously watching the live stream, hopefully you've seen last week's race where we were in Spain. And it was a really interesting one. It was, I wouldn't say a boring race. Spain is always one of those difficult races where, because of the fact we do winter testing there, a lot of the cars, you know, just as in real life, we see the cars just kind of run 2 by 2, and it means that throughout the race, because of the fact that it's so varied across, the reason why we do winter testing there is because it's varied across the entire track. You have fast sections, you have slow sections, and it just means that it breaks up the driving a bit too much, and it means that you get to a point in the race where it becomes quite difficult to sort of find entertainment in it. Not because it was a bad race though. Evening, Jonathan Cox, thank you for tuning in. It was actually a really interesting race, and what ended up happening is, because of the fact there was some massive strategy calls going on, you had FT, who ended up winning the race with Jonathan Cox in second. He was chasing him down, both on completely different strategies. FT going for a longer stint at the end, where Jonathan Cox pitting while in the lead, and then trying to gain that time back. And he didn't manage to do it just in the end. And then you had Extremist coming third in the McLaren, and that was an important place for the McLarens for him to finish, because there is a almighty battle happening for second place currently in the championship for the constructors, especially between Red Bull and for the McLarens as well. But also you've got Alfa Romeo in there, who FT drives for. So on to the driver's standings. We've got Jonathan Cox, who's currently out in front with 144 points, should say. FT on 116 behind him, so he's not too far behind him now. He's had a couple of the past 2 races he's won, so it's been really great to see him trying to catch back and gain that time, gain those points back on Jonathan Cox. And then we have 2 really interesting fights. You have Joshy Boy on 71 points in 3rd place in the Red Bull, and an Extremist close behind him on 65 in the McLaren, and then his McLaren teammate is the one behind him in 5th, Callum Tyler on 43, equal points to Optics in the Red Bull. So you can see why we've got one hell of a battle happening between the Red Bulls and the McLaren. So in the constructors, obviously you've got Mercedes, who are out in front with it was Super Steve and Jonathan Cox, and we've got Crazy Bill, who's currently in the Mercedes alongside him. So that's now 171 points there. They're out in front, and quite far forward ahead of Alfa Romeo, who's, as we know, we have FT driving for them, who's currently on, yes, they're on 116 points. It's only FT. Obviously, you see VRL Smithy, who's also driving from only FT's actually scored points. You then have Red Bull in 3rd place, only just behind them on 114, and McLaren very close behind them on 108. So that battle for 2nd place is really hotting up. This is round 8 of 15, so there's not many races left, but still enough for these guys to really make an impact. Who knows, maybe Mercedes can be toppled at the top, but we'll have to wait and find out. So, on to Canada. And to be honest, one of my favourite tracks. I absolutely adore watching Canada. I certainly adore racing Canada. It's one of those tracks that I absolutely love going around in the car. And sadly, we might, you know, the rumours are kind of circulating. We might not be able to actually watch it this year. It looks like we're not going to be having a Canadian Grand Prix this year, which is going to be a real shame, because honestly, Canada's one of those places that always throws up something really interesting. Of course, this is where I'd say we had one of the best races of the modern era in 2011 between was it 2011 or 2010, between Button and Vettel, and I think it was 2011, where it was changeable conditions, and we really saw the prowess that Button has really come to the forefront and managed to beat Vettel, and just sort of keeping his head. He came back from the back of the grid twice not once after he collided with Hamilton, but a second time after he got a drive-through penalty for colliding with Alonso as well. And it was crazy that he managed to do that. And obviously you had the changeable conditions which worked to his advantage. You had the red flag which worked to his advantage. But that is part of F1. F1 is one of those places where you can just look into it, and you know, that's not a bad thing. I think we saw it in Imola last weekend with Lewis Hamilton. The whole point in F1 is that you're supposed to look into it a lot of the time, and it's not a bad thing if that happens. It's just F1. We've had so many people throughout the years who have been lucky to be in the right place at the right time, but because people find it quite a lot that if they don't like a certain driver, all of a sudden the luck is the bad thing. Whereas actually it's just part of F1, and actually to be in the right place at the right time takes a lot of skill and takes a lot of perseverance. And you saw it with Hamilton, you certainly saw it with Button. But of course, Canada's one of those countries got a very long motorsport history. It's you know, been in F1 since 1967. Obviously held at different places before we went to you know, in 1978 we then went to what is now the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Gilles Villeneuve, obviously having won the inaugural Grand Prix in this on this circuit, and of course the other Canadian Grand Prix winner, I suppose, because Lance Stroll still hasn't yet won a Grand Prix. We'll never know where that's going to come. He ends up winning the whole championship, of course, in 1996, is Jacques Villeneuve, but has never actually, well, had never, I should say, won here in Canada. It was one of those strange, you know, the circuit was named after his dad and stuff, but he could never win here. And obviously, maybe that's just, you know, maybe that's just what happens here. And one of the things that also happened here and has never happened since, which is weird when you think about how successful the brothers were, in 2001 the Canadian Grand Prix was the first and only time that two brothers, should say, finished first and second in an F1 race. Obviously Michael and Ralf Schumacher. Funnily enough, Ralf was the one who actually won that day. But maybe we'll see that again. Maybe when Arthur Leclerc comes up into F1, maybe we'll see that. And I do hope that Arthur Leclerc does manage to be in F1 at the same time as his brother, because I think it'll be really interesting to see that take place. But on to what we've got in front of us today with our own drivers of CFTs now into the right team. Could we see a first-time winner here? Because Canada's one of those places where a lot of time, you know, drivers get their first win with Hamilton, Kubica, and Ricciardo all getting their first wins around Canada. It's one of those tracks because of the fact that it's so high-paced, and we'll get into exactly the intricacies of this circuit in a little bit. But because of the fact it's like that, it doesn't necessarily punish poor driver skill as much. If it's changeable conditions, as we saw in 2011, of course it does. But if it's dry and you're able to keep it on track and not get the penalties, which we will undoubtedly be talking about throughout today, you can do quite well here and maybe compete with people who you're not used to competing with. But of course, we've said, you know, this is a low aero circuit. You want to be going as fast as possible, especially down that back straight before you come into the chicane of the Wall of Champions. But I've just said it there, the Wall of Champions is so named because it can go all wrong there. If you get out of shape, if your downforce is too low, you can take too much speed into there and just end up plummeting yourself into the wall. A lot of people on their final qualifying runs, which we'll see in this qualifying session, will probably hit that wall because they're just going so quickly into there. But of course, it's also where track limits play a massive role. You can get all the way around this circuit without breaking track limits and then literally break it on the last corner. And it happens so often, and you'll find people doing it, and it will frustrate them to no end, because not only will it obviously invalidate that lap, but it will also invalidate the lap that they're going on to. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. You know, the guys have been talking on a Discord chat about whether they reckon some people who are quite fast may not even make it into the top 10 in qualifying because they'll just break track limits on every single lap. And we certainly want to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing whether it's going to rain here, because that usually throws a lot into the mix as we wait for us to get our first sight of qualifying. Who knows? It's going to be a great spectacle, I have a feeling. I think it's going to be a really fast race as it looks bright and sunny, just as it has in the UK this week. Let's hope it stays like this, at least for this qualifying session, if not for the entire race. So, there we go. We can now see everything properly. And we wonder who is going to be first out. It looks like it's going to be a Ferrari. Let's have a wait and see. It is Ziam who is going out first, so we'll go on board with him. Beautiful red Ferrari without the green on the back. So, I don't know what we're going to see here today. I really don't. I think, honestly, as I said, it's going to be a good race. But whether or not we're going to see people on different strategies, you see a lot of people going out there. If you're qualifying on the soft tyre, you are dedicating yourself to a two-stop race. If you're on a medium tyre, you've got the option then of actually making it last until you get onto the hard tyres and then stay on those hard tyres right until the end. Or you can go medium, soft, or you can go medium, soft. It all depends obviously on what, as we see, Safdar is completely... I don't know what's happened there, why he's retired straight away. But yeah, like we're... You know, it completely depends on what happens with the safety cars. Obviously, if you're on a medium compound tyre, you want to make sure that you're trying to get as long as possible. That way, well, you know, that way you don't have to pit twice. So, as we see him now, he's going to go around the final corner. Let's see if he breaks track limits. He doesn't, but he has to back off a little bit. But we're going to stay on board with Siam here, see how he does. So, as he goes towards the first corner, he takes a long, wide entry into that. He then picks up his speed, locks up his front right tyre. Not what you want, but he should be alright for now. Let's see. This is another place where he can break track limits quite easily. He doesn't just about. Lucky one really. Right, going around into this difficult left-hander, I'd say you want to get the power on very early and brake really early here to make sure you get as much speed as possible going down this long DRS straight. So here we go, about to go into another chicane, starting sector 2, ending sector 2. So now going on to the very difficult hairpin, one of the overtaking zones definitely for the race. He's taken a bit too much speed into there, which will really risk him messing up his lap, but he seems to be carrying on. He did stick it behind his teammates to try and get a bit of a... Oh, I thought he was going to break track limits there. He managed to stick his power on quite nicely behind his teammates to get a bit of tow. So, you're going to see now as he goes across the lines of 1:09.6. The lap record, by the way, guys, in terms of during the race, was set by LH44 in this league, which was a 1:10.069. So, with a 1:09 being set by Siam, maybe obviously that's a tester lap. We're going to wait and see whether anyone's able to match that. Let's go on board. Let's see if VRL Smithy goes any faster. We see Walker's gone with a 1:09.1, so that's a lot faster. Let's see who else is out. Josh Boy's currently invalidating his lap. We've got Liam Yeh who's setting his fastest now. Sean's on medium tyres. A lot of people are going for these medium compounded tyres right now. So really, we'll see Leffy get really out of sorts there. So really, it's kind of a bit of everyone's guess as to what the best strategy there. And you see there, Leffy does go into the Wall of Champions. So it looks like he just took too much speed in. He didn't brake hard enough, and you did feel it when you started going through. That was going to be a difficult corner for him. As you see, Extremis has then gone fourth. It's a very good lap from Sean to go third at the moment. It's a 1:09.6, pretty much equal to Siam's 1:09.6 as well. However, that was set on a soft set of tyres. See, Diamond Tucker's gone fourth with a 1:10.02. That's a very good lap there from Diamond Tucker. So he's just invalidated that lap. I think he was coming into the pits anyway. Let's see his Crazy Bill. Sees he can set a decent time here. He's looking like it's going to be probably a 1:09.8, I'd say. 1:08.8. There we go. I was a second off. That was a very fast time on a medium set of tyres for Crazy Bill. He's going to be, I think, really challenging his teammate there. You see Joshy Boy's gone into third with a 109.4, as well as FT on a 109.4 as well on the medium compound tyres. And it kind of puts into perspective exactly how these guys on the softs are kind of doing. They're not probably getting the most out of their tyres at this point. They want to be going on to the softs in the last couple of minutes of the session and seeing if that's going to work out well for them. But I'm unsure. If I'm honest with you, I don't know what the best strategy is here. One stop is obviously good, but I'll be honest with you, chances of us staying without a safety car are low. You want to be kind of, especially in the first couple of laps, you want to be maximising the laps you do get as free running. So maybe a soft compound tyre is the best way of going forward. But I might be proven wrong. We might have absolutely no safety cars, in which case the medium compound tyre might be a really good starting tyre. But we'll wait and see. FT is going to come around for another lap, which is interesting. He does whack the wall there. Let's see if he's managed to get any faster. It's a 108.8. That is faster. And it's only what? I can't do maths. It's over. It's just over 100th slower, should I say, than Crazy Bill. So Walker's now gone into the pits. So's Callum. Let's see. Sean's on his way in, I believe. Let's see as he comes to the end of sector 2 here. No, he's not. He's on for a faster lap. So that's currently 2/10 faster, which would put him up to 4th. Let's see how he does through this final section. It's a nice line through that hairpin there. As I said, that is 100% going to be somewhere you can pass people in this game. It's somewhere so easy, because it's almost blinded as you go around that corner, at which point you're basically at your braking point. It's so easy to lock up your tyres, over-brake yourself as he hits the wall there. And it just means that realistically, as he goes 3/10 faster, realistically, if you can nail your braking zone properly and you can get enough traction on the way out, you can overtake someone quite easily there if you're far enough behind them. So Tang goes into 7th place with a 109.4. So we currently have the top 8 all split by less than a second, which is really, really great to see. But what else is really great to see is you've got 4 of those, so half of the top 8. That's, yeah, 4 is half of 8, well done that. The half of the top 8 are all on medium compound tyres, as well as the fact you haven't had the likes of Jonathan Cox setting their fastest lap at the moment. He has invalidated that lap. That is a shame as he goes into the pits. So maybe the person who we're going to be seeing not set a competitive lap at least, or maybe even not set a time, is going to be Jonathan Cox. As you see Saki completely lose it on the exit there. That is the issue that I think a lot of people don't realise about this track, especially that middle sector, because of the way that the chicanes work. That little drop off of the curb, as you see him completely, that didn't look like it was a fast enough impact. Right, well then. Who's currently on their fastest lap? Extremist, I think, is about to go on his, so let's see if Diamond Tuck is setting a faster lap here. Oh, let's see, he's almost lost it there. The traction zones, because of the fact that this is built on a path, it means that the fact, you know, the elevations and stuff don't work the way that they're almost designed to. They work the way that nature wants them to. And so you can find yourself, especially in those chicanes, what makes them so tricky is if you try and put power on too early, you're just going to lose traction, lose your rear end, and risk spinning, as we saw Saki do there. As we see Diamond Tucker goes into the pits. Let's see if Siam's going for a faster lap. He's not invalid this time. Extremist has set a fastest middle sector. So let's see now if he can match that in his final sector. He's currently 5/10 up, which would we could put him around about 8th, which, you know, shows how much he was off the pace in his last lap, but it would put him in contention for that fight for the top 10. So now as he goes across the final corner, he has to back out. He takes way too much of an angle there. He's going in with way too much speed. So let's see where he puts himself. It's a 109.9. It does go up to 9th and into the 109s, but it's not what you'd probably consider as his best attempts. You see Liam go into 4th place with a 109.1. He's only 3/10 off, as well as Walker, who's obviously gone faster with a 109.1 as well. So he's only 3/10 off. This is going to be one hell of a fight for first place. Let's see if Jonathan Cox can get involved, but he's now left the session. That might be his internet messing up. We'll go on board with Smith and see if he's setting the fastest lap. He's not. Joshy Boy's currently out on a new set of soft compound tyres. Let's see what he does going through this third sector. Wait and see what's happening with Jonathan Cox now as he sees Joshy Boy decides to pit instead. Let's see who else is on an out lap. So people are on an out lap. Still got 7 minutes left, so you can't expect this is going to be their fastest overall time, but maybe just a better time for them to be setting before they go for that last 5-minute shootout. You see Jonathan Cox now rejoined, so that's good to see. So Smithy now, that's 0.6 faster than his previous best. That's great to see. That would put him just about outside actually of the 109s, but if he can now improve in this final sector, it would mean that he's then into the 109s, maybe 109.8 is possible, maybe 109.7, let's see. I don't know how bad his first final sector was. So as he goes through now, he gets a decent speed. He probably think he's gone down too little. We'll touch upon Clarkley in a second. He does go into the 109s, but he's only good enough for 12th. So Clarkey F1 has now gone and set a 108.5, 3/10 faster than the the previous best time, both on medium tyres. This is going to be one hell of a shootout for the top places. So Jake Lee's on his fastest lap. We'll go on board with him now as he's setting his next best. He's hoping he can probably get this in and then go back into the pits. He's on low fuel though. He may have to pit this lap before, otherwise he's going to run out of fuel before they get back to the pits. So we'll have to wait and see. So Jake Lee now going through the final corner. Let's see, is he going to pit? No, he's not. Goes through the final corner and invalidates his lap. That's exactly what we feared could happen around that final corner. I Am Sloth does not do the same thing. So let's see how he does. The 108.4, even faster than Clarkey's previous best time. This shootout has just gotten very interesting indeed. So Liam is now, oh, that's saying he's 5/10 faster, but he's of course not in the actual time. As you see, Clarkey's now lost session. No, he's going. As you see, Walker's gone even faster. Wow, this is really hotting up. Right, let's see who's on an out lap. We don't want to be missing any more laps. Jonathan Cox is still in the pits. You've got Joshy Boy on his out lap. He's now a second off the pace. You just have to hope, really, for the likes of Joshy Boy, that this track has actually improved, and it's not the fact that these guys are that much faster. So we'll stay on board with Joshy Boy now, as he's now starting his flying lap with 5 minutes left to go in the session. So Joshy Boy going for his flying lap. Let's see, going through the first sector. He's keeping it neat and tidy at the moment. He's very much on the power in the right points. He's braking quite a little bit of debris there on the outside. Let's see, he's only 600th up. So I hate to say it, it's not the track. The track's not improving that much. The drivers are. So currently you've got a Williams 1-2. Oh, how they wish that would actually happen in real life, especially after the last race. Currently got a Williams 1-2. Can anyone else really get close to them? Of course, Clarkey's currently, there we go, he's now back in the lobby, so that's good to see. You have Liam, who's, you know, he's still in his pitch, so is Crazy Bill, so is FT, Jonathan Cox still hasn't came out. These guys I'd expect to be able to improve at least by 4/10 maybe. Joshy Boy then goes around the final corner. Let's see what this is going to be. It's not going to be fast enough for pole, but is it faster than his previous best? It's not, but only just. So now let's have a look at these streams. He's broken track limits once more. It's a real shame for these guys. I bet they're watching their times going, look, that was 4/10 faster, but I can't because of the fact that one corner I messed up. As we see, I think that's Diamond Tucker who's on his way. No, it's to see him now. Let's have a look. Diamond Tucker's on his out lap. Who we wanted to watch? Sean, who had an amazing lap. He's now invalidated on the first corner. That's a shame. FT's invalidated his fastest lap, obviously, on the last corner of the last lap. So he's just going to want to get round and come back out on soft set of tyres. Everyone is now on a soft set of tyres, including the likes of Walker and FT and all those guys who were on mediums to begin with. So maybe they're all sort of saying the same thing as what I was, expecting a safety car, especially with the 2 incidents we've already had in this race, in this qualifying session. So they're expecting a safety car. You know, is that going to mean that we're going to see everyone starting on softs? I think it does look like it for now. Let's see. So FT's obviously he's validated this lap, but he's going to try and set another fastest lap after this with only 2.5 minutes left to go. It's looking like last ditch effort from kind of everyone apart from the top 5, as we see FT's coming into the pits. They hoping they can get back out. So Crazy Bill's out on his out lap. He's about to start his first flying lap, so we're going to stay on board with him for now. Let's see. He needs to make 4/10 in order to try and get that top position. I think he did his best on medium compound tyres, so this shouldn't be too difficult. We'll wait and see. So Crazy Bill starts through the first sector. He's 1/10.5 up. Great start, really. Now he doesn't really making any mistakes. Going wide on that corner, for example. Right, let's see. Going through this final chicane, and let's see how he does here. He doesn't spin it like everyone else has up until this point. So, say everyone else, a couple of other people I should say. So he's now 2.5 tenths up. Oh, almost 3 tenths up. This is good news for Crazy Bill. Who else is it good news for? It's good news for anyone else who's looking for pole. It does mean that if you set your first lap on the medium set of tyres, this circuit is still working for you. So as we see, other people haven't yet came into the pits. That's a bit of a messy final corner from Crazy Bill. Let's see, as we see Walker's retired. He's saying no, that's enough, it's enough. It's only 3rd fastest for Crazy Bill. Now everyone else starts leaving the pits. We're going to go down to Jonathan Cox and see if he's setting his fastest lap. So we won't be able to get any delta pace from Jonathan Cox, but we'll soon see if this is good enough. Then we'll head up to the guys up the top and who are obviously looking at improving. I Am Sloth is just hoping he can keep hold of that first position. So Jonathan Cox now sets a purple middle sector, doesn't get too deep, doesn't lock up like we've seen other people doing, going into that hairpin, gets on the traction nice and early. Let's see, is Jonathan Cox here? Can he manage to get that pole position on his only flying lap? Can he not break track limits here? Let's see, he's going to be really careful. He doesn't, just about. So Jonathan Cox now coming across the line. What's it going to be? It looks like it's a 1:08.3 is fastest now for Jonathan Cox, but will it be enough? So let's see. We have Clarkey about to set his fastest time. We've got Liam who's about to set his fastest time. FT's the one who's obviously really going to be hoping to set a faster lap than Jonathan Cox, with that fight for the championship lead still going on. Of course, it's not looking good currently for the Red Bulls and for the McLarens. So as we see now, time completely go. You've got Crazy Bill and I Am Sloth who aren't setting faster laps. Let's wait and see, shall we? So FT here, he's just trying his best to try and get back up ahead of Jonathan Cox. It's not looking like a good day for the championship at the moment, but if FT can get into the top 2, as you see he goes purple in that middle sector, he's 4/10 currently up, which currently is enough to get him probably until about 2nd, I'd say. If he can keep improving, this would be a great lap from him. We're keeping an eye on Liam, who's actually just dived into the pit, so he's not setting a faster lap. Obviously, Clarkey's another one who we're going to be looking out for, as we see FT absolutely bomb it through that middle sector, that final corner, I should say. So let's see, as he goes across the line to 1:08.2. Great lap from FT. Can anyone else beat it? As we see Clarkey go faster, but not fast enough. Wow. And there we have it. Just like that, we've finished the qualifying session with FT getting a leg up on Jonathan Cox, and that's brilliant news for him and the team, with, you know, their team rivals of Red Bull and McLaren all qualifying outside the points. It's a great job from FT, it's brilliant from I Am Sloth. We're going to be keeping our eyes on the guys like Clarkey and Liam, who have both kind of shocked me, not because of the fact that they're I don't think they're that fast, just because I don't know how fast they are. So, I don't know what we're going to be possibly having, whether we're going to be having any rain in the session next. But it's important to notice, as you can see there, Clarkey is the only one in the top 10 who has qualified on the medium compound tyres. What could he possibly have done on the softs? He probably would have been fastest on those softs. So he's the one to watch, starting 6th. Can he pull off a strategic masterstroke? Or can any of these guys in the bottom 10 get back up? We have to wait and see. So it looks like another beautiful day in Canada. I'm unsure whether, you know, we don't know whether that means there won't be any rain, but it looks like it most likely won't be. So, who am I keeping my eyes on today? Obviously, we know the speed of the Red Bull and the McLaren drivers. We know that the top 8 are very close. I'm keeping my eyes on Clarkey. He's looking like he could be pulling off a very good strategical move, starting on those medium compound tyres compared to everyone else. But we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we know this first corner can be treacherous. We especially know that it's not one of those ones that you can have more than 2 wide. And a lot of time we try and get 4. So we could be seeing an early safety car. We could be seeing early retirements. We could just see a lot of damage going into this first corner. But let's hope we can. Let's hope we can have a clean race. I want a clean race with lots of battling. Of course I do. But you know, this is F1 2020. Chances of us getting that are very low. What I do want is some fast driving, and I am especially excited to see what Clarkey can do on those soft compound tyres as we're about to go ready for the formation lap. So, we want to see what tyre people are on. We want to see everything else. There we go. So, we've got FT leading the way with Jonathan Cox in 2nd. I am slotted in 3rd. Walker 4th. Crazy Bill's 5th. That's a great result for the Mercedes team. You then have Clarkey in 6th. Liam in 7th. Tang in 8th. Sean in 9th, Siam 10th, then Josh Boy, Extremist, Callum Tyler, Diamond Tucker, VRL Smithy, Saki, Safdar, Jake Lee, and Leppy, who rounds off the grid. It's interesting that Saki's starting on hard compound tyres. He's looking to go as long as possible. Not sure that's the best move. He's going to get swallowed up like anything. But we'll wait and see. Most people outside of the top 10 are starting on those medium compound tyres, so maybe Clarkey has done himself a real good favour. We'll have to see if the strategy pulls off. For those of you who don't know, what they're doing currently on this formation lap is warming up the tyres as much as possible. Basically, the science of it is that, as we see there, the different strategies you could be going on to with softs. I think you could do soft, medium, really. You can make a soft last that long. But the science of it is obviously the warmer rubber is, the more it sort of like bends and deforms and stuff. So of course, the warmer it is, the more surface area you get, which means more grip, which means faster off the line and faster turning. So of course, you want them as warm as sort of like possible within a range, in order to make sure that you get off the line really well as getting enough traction through that first corner, which we know is really, really important. So, we're going to go on board with Clarkey, I think, at the start of this race, see what happens in front of him. Maybe we'll go on board with Crazy Bill. Yeah, Crazy Bill looks like he's going to be best. We can see Jonathan Cox in 2nd, his teammate. The 2 Williams ahead of him. Oh, how Williams wish that was actually happening between 2 Mercedes. Absolutely crazy. This is going to be an interesting race. Let's go on board with Crazy Bill. No. So, 5 lights, and we are waiting here a while, and we're off. So he gets a great start. Walker does not behind him. You've got Clarkey Boy having a great start in front. Jonathan Cox seems like he's about to get passed by I Am Sloth. I'm unsure why everyone is currently ghosting. I don't think they actually are. Crazy Bill does get... Oh, does he get Walker? He doesn't. It does look like Yeah, so Clarkey's right behind him. We're going to ignore the timer screen to the left-hand side at the moment. So, Crazy Bill is still in 6th position. FT is still in 1st, but I Am Sloth is the only person who's made up a space there. But here we go, Jonathan Cox going round the outside of I Am Sloth into this chicane. I don't think it's going to work there, John. It's not. And he manages to get through. So I think this is sorting itself out here. And we've got Walker now completely pressing Jonathan Cox, trying to go up the inside of this hairpin. I think he's made it work, not only on him, but on his teammate who runs very wide. He doesn't make it work on his teammate, but Jonathan Cox is now right behind him. And let's see, as we see Walker really steaming out the outside, getting up into 2nd place. But FT is just clocked out. He's gone, I'm not going to have any of this battling. I am gone. Right, we're going to go behind now to Jonathan Cox. Then you've got Crazy Bill right on his back. That is not good for his championship at the moment. But we're going to go down, I think, to Joshy Boy. That's a little Tang, I think, has gone out of the race, hasn't he? So he's falling back for that reason. But we've got some nice battles. Let's have a look at where everyone has moved on this first lap. So you've got Walker's up 2 places. I Am Sloth is exactly the same. You've got Jonathan Cox who's gone down, so that's not good for him. Best at the moment, obviously, is all those people on 2, which is obviously got the fact you've got Extremists who's leapfrogged the Red Bull there, so that's good for them. So we're going to go on to the tyre again. We're going to go back up to Crazy Bill, who's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. As we said, this is where you have the likes of the track limits really making an impact on the race. We saw a lot, as we see there, Saki. Not what you want when you've got a hard compounded tyre on, but anyway, let's see. I think that was a battle. Oh no, it's not. So we're going to go backwards. We're going to see if anyone's very close to each other. Sean here is very close to see him. Let's see. No, it's still not enough there. As FT sets a fast lap. It does look like Walker is kind of getting some time back on FT. Joshy Boy there. It does look fairly even currently out on the grid. Yeah, but well, as we saw so many people breaking track limits in the qualifying session, it was undoubtedly going to happen. Where, as we see there, VRL Smithy also getting one as well as Leppy. People getting penalties because if they were breaking it in qualifying, when they're then really pushing and trying to stay ahead of people and trying to attack and defend as much as possible, people are going to be breaking track limits all over the place. So it will just be a case of who gets the least here. And what that might be, I don't know. So you see Sloth's really on the back of Walker here. Still, I don't think we've got the... No, we do have DRS here, so let's see. Walker without DRS, everyone behind him with it. We can't still see the fights currently happening. Doesn't look like anything will be happening on this straight. It's not. Let's see. Anyone close enough as we see Joshy almost. He does actually. I think he lost part of his front wing there for hitting the side barrier. Can we see he's really struggling there? He has lost his end plate, as we can see on board with Extremist. Now that means that Diamond Tucker's going to be all over Joshy Boy with these soft compounded tyres. Let's hope Joshy Boy can manage with that less. Oh, I thought Diamond Tucker was going to lose it there. Let's hope that Josh Boy can manage with the less of his front wing, less bit of downforce. Let's have a look now, as I Am Sloth is very close behind Walker here. Can he make this work going into the next DRS zone? So he's currently 3/10 off, as we see. I think that is a collision out the back. It's a retirement and a virtual safety car. That is not good news for... really not good news for I Am Sloth. He was in a perfect position there to try and overtake his teammate Walker. But they've managed to get that gap back, and I think that's a really important thing to do. I'm unsure whether FT is probably holding back a little bit, probably trying to make sure, as we see a pit stop now for some of the soft runners of Liam and Diamond Tucker, and a 3-second time penalty. That's a very slow corner from Walker. That was almost a penalty for Sloth, but he's now back to green flag running. Yes, and Liam, Sim and Josh were all in the pits. Of course, promotes Diamond Tucker and Extremist into 8th and 9th. So, we're going to keep an eye on things, see if any of these battles end up minimising. We're going to stay on board though, I think, with, let's have a look at Jonathan Cox. See Sloth getting really wide there. This has given Jonathan Cox a great opportunity down the inside here. He decides against it, knowing he's going to get DRS now in the next straight. He's only 3/10 off. He needs a very good exit here. Of course, I Am Sloth is going to have DRS, but using all of his overtake, Jonathan Cox swoops up the inside, very easily makes that overtake. And now it's on I Am Sloth not to run into the back of him. There's a very good overtake and back onto the podium places after a dismal start from Jonathan Cox. We're now going to go down to, I was going to say, Diamond Tucker now going into the pits. Tang has now left the session as we see another penalty for Leppy. Let's see if any of these other battles are going ahead. Tang, I think, is still... He sets a fastest lap. I don't think he's actually, he's completely AFK, isn't he? So let's have a look, see if any of these battles are going to go anywhere. Extremist is really pushing at the moment. It is a brilliant day for the McLarens with Extremist and Callum in 8th and 9th, and any points mean a lot in this championship because it's not often you find your championship rival who are very consistent the way the Red Bull are so far down. Whether that will change, obviously we know Josh Boyd pitted. We will have to wait and see. So Extremist here, he's got DRS. Is he going to be enough to get anywhere near Sean? Sean is not using his overtake, but we've got a lot left as we see Jonathan Cox also get a 3-second time penalty. I have a feeling that everyone will probably end up getting those, so there's nothing to worry about there. Jonathan Cox is very close. Jake Lee's overtaken Leppy though. That's a very good move for him. So that is now 12th position currently for Jake Lee after starting at the back of the grid. Obviously he hasn't yet pitted, unlike the 4 behind him. As you can see, Liam also overtake Tang. Of course, you know Tang is completely AFK at the moment. I wonder whether he'll be back or whether he's just completely gone. We'll have to wait and see as well. So Safdar is only 2/10 behind Smithy here. Can he get ahead of the Alpha Romeos? It's the battle of the Alphas. Let's see who the Alpha male is going to be. So with DRS here, as we see Clarkey get a 3-second time penalty, he's still doing quite well, you know. He's still on the back of that leading pack, and with medium compound tyres, that is only going to play into his hands in the next few laps. As VRL Smithy gets very much out of sorts. There you have Safdar now going around the outside. Let's see if he can make this work going into the hairpin. He takes a very wide angle trying to get the inside line, but he just gets a lot more traction than on the outside. That's a very good overtake in the end. Let's see as these two battle it out, whether or not he can make this work using all of his overtake, using his DRS. Smithy is putting up an amazing fight on the inside. Let's see as we go into the chicane. Yeah, I was going to say Smithy has to back out of that. It was Safdar's racing line. He was obviously going a lot faster, as you see a 5-second time penalty and an issue for Liam. Yeah, don't know exactly what happened there, but some of the software, a lot of the software are now pitting. So as you see now, Safdar in 9th place, Extremist up to 6th. Who's pitted out the top? There's Clarkey's gone all the way back as well. I'm unsure what's happened here. Clarkey was right on the back of those guys at the front, and then something has happened which has meant Clarkey has fallen back from 6th position all the way down. Oh, I Am Sloth is pitted, so I Am Sloth pitted onto, that's why he's now down in 14th, so that explains that. You see a 3-second time penalty from Liam. Yeah, this is another, this battle between Sean and Extremist are really, they're just getting pushed right to the limit here. I wonder. Right, thank you very much for Drofter. He's obviously watching something else there. So he had a drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC. Thank you there for Drofter. So Clarkey's that's why he's gone down to 8th. To be honest, only losing 2 positions under a 5-second drive-through penalty. That's pretty decent for him. You see, Liam's now retired. As he retired into the... Unsure exactly why that's of course a VSC. I thought he retired into the pit lane, but I don't think he has in the end. So we're going to stay on board now with Walker as things start to even out. Jonathan Cox has now got ahead of Walker. So while we're watching the bottom runners there, we saw that Jonathan Cox is now got ahead of Walker. Clarkey has had to, as we see all the soft compound runners now start to pit. I wonder if, no, so Crazy Bill obviously with his teammate in the pits, he knows better than to try and pit there, so he takes the lead of the race. Sean is going into the pit, which gives Extremist now, I believe he'll come out in 2nd. He does. That's a great start for him. So now DRS is enabled. Now we have full course yellow, but no VSC. Why is it full course yellow? Anyway, Walker in 5th place now, right behind Callum. You've got Jonathan Cox, obviously had a 5-second time penalty and had to go that far. Callum is really holding up Walker here. That little nudge there, I think, was just a I'm here, let me pass. Callum stays on the inside, knowing, on the inside, I should say, knowing that he just can't really defend to a much faster, much fresher tyres Walker. But these medium compound tyres are now going to start to play into these guys' hands. This is where the likes of Extremist wants to try and get as far ahead as possible in order to pit onto the hard compounded tyres. You can see Bill has now come into the pits. FT has gotten past him. He'll now get back into the lead of the race. Again, still with no penalties. Great news for FT, as well as the fact that it's great news for Walker. He's doing that and saying Bill is coming out. Let's see where he comes out. Clarkey's now up to 4th. As we see Jonathan Cox has hit it once more. Probably trying to just get rid of all of his penalties there on some hard compound tyres. I thought he got damage there, because that is unusual for him to be pitting right after he went onto the medium compound tyres. He must have had damage. Right, we'll wait and see. He's obviously hoping for a safety car, but at the moment it's a brilliant news for FT, gaining 25 points on his championship rival. This championship fight is well in contention really for FT. So Clarkey now up to 4th position, right behind Walker. You have Extremist still in 2nd. Crazy Bill's come out behind Safdar, who is very close to Callum Tyler indeed. So it's now up to whether these medium compound runners of Clarkey, Extremist and Callum Tyler can really get the most out of being on a compound that can last a lot longer than the softs. And obviously these guys are now going to the mediums. Whether they'll go to the mediums afterwards will certainly help the medium compound runners, because obviously one compound difference between a medium and a hard isn't as much as, you know I'm teaching to suck eggs here, isn't as much as a soft to hard difference. So who knows what these guys will be hoping for. Right, Jake Lee is still a 2nd off. I am Sloth, who's still down in 9th. So that's not been a good pit stop strategy for him. Gone down to 9th now. He obviously had a 5-second time penalty to serve as well. Crazy Bill's got on past Safdar. So Safdar, just like we see with the guys ahead, as he's completely struggling on those medium compounded tyres. I'm unsure whether these guys are going to be pitting soon. You see Safdar gets out of the way of Sean as well. Right, Walker, right on the back of Extremist. Extremist, you don't think here is going to put up much of a fight. He'll use a lot of his overtake. It has meant that Walker has not managed to get close enough in order to overtake. You see Crazy Bill's overtaking Callum Tyler now, so he's now up into 5th position. Clarkey is now in the pits, as we see Walker has gotten ahead of Extremist. So Clarkey now in the pits. He's going on to That's interesting. He's going onto the medium compound tyres. I did think it was too early. So obviously with pitting this early, it's meant that that one-stop strategy just won't work. He's gone onto the medium compound tyres knowing he can get the softs ready later. It's not looking good for the medium compound runners if they're losing that much time. Luckily for Extremist, he's managed to keep up with Walker, who is an extremely fast driver. But that gap out now in front is now 5 seconds. FT has gotten over Walker. You see Siam's now gotten ahead of Jake Lee, who's struggling on those very old medium compound tyres. Siam's are much younger, to be honest, so he won't be staying, I don't think, out on those for much longer. Probably another 5 laps at most. As you see, Safdar's still in DRS range of I Am Sloth. Sean has managed to get past Callum Tyler. Oh, as you see there, Callum Tyler had to get out of the way. That's the issue with this pit lane. If you're obviously taking the same racing line, it means if you've got someone in front who's going for the much earlier braking zone of the chicane, you're having to brake a lot earlier than you want to for that pit. So we see now 2 Red Bulls, just like we saw the 2 that's a big moment for Jake Lee. Just like we saw the 2 McLarens earlier getting into the top 10, we now have the 2 Red Bulls in the top 10. So Callum Tyler also goes onto a medium set of tyres, so he's still doing a 2-stop. I'm unsure whether many of these guys, so the only 3 who are left out there who could be going for a 1-stop is Extremist, Safdar and Jake Lee, who is really struggling now on these medium compound tyres. You would not think it should be long until he hits. Clarkey is very quickly approaching him on his new medium compound tyres. We see Crazy Bill's gone ahead of Extremist now. So now the top 3 are FT, Walker and Crazy Bill. Clarkey gets past Jake Lee into 9th position. Sean's got another 3-second time penalty. Let's see who's... So Extremist and Safdar still haven't pitted, nor has Jake Lee. But that's not good. He's just probably gotten not only a 3-second time penalty, but a fair bit of damage there as well. So Sloth is now approaching Sean. They've both got new medium compound tyres on. Obviously Sloth is a lot later, where it looks like he's now starting to recover a lot of that time that he lost early on in this race. Sean is getting all out of sorts here. I Am Sloth has just managed to go very cleanly around the outside. I think that was Sean going, you know what, I'm not going to be able to fend this guy off for long. Joshy Boy gets ahead of his teammate now into 10th position. I'm unsure. Well, you can obviously see the reason why Jake Lee has not pitted yet, as we see that was a very close between Clarkey and Siam. Clarkey has now gone ahead of Siam on those new sets of tyres. Extremist is now in the pits. As I was going to say, it'll be interesting to see when these guys pit. Safdar has carried on for another lap. Safdar, who obviously started, I think he was like 17th, is currently in 6th position. But it's interesting to see where Extremist will come out on the hard compound tyres. So he's made it stick for this one-stop strategy. So has Jake Lee's gone on to the softs. He obviously didn't like the fact that when he was on the final part of his stint, he was really struggling. So let's see where the fights are now coming about. You've got Sean who's catching I Am Sloth. Wait, no, I should say he's still in I Am Sloth DRS. Smithy and Callum Tyler here are right behind Diamond Tucker on the verge of the points. McLaren really need these guys to get as many points as possible. Obviously, everyone from 13th upwards is going to have to pit at least one more time. Safdar has still not come into the pit, so that's a brilliant move there. Let's see, Diamond Tucker defends the outside line. He's squeezing Callum Tyler up the inside here. He's going to have to take the outside line. It's a very clean racing from these guys. Diamond Tucker does manage to keep hold of the position. Of course, it does mean that Callum Tyler is going to have DRS here. Now, can he make this move stick? He's only 2.5 tenths behind. Best off sticking in the slipstream. Diamond Tucker, that is weaving. That was not good. Callum Tyler had to back out there. Luckily, he's managed to make it work on this next one. Diamond Tucker was really pushing him there. That was aggressive defending there from Diamond Tucker to a point where it just became dangerous. He weaved, so he took the inside line there going into the final chicane and then pulled back against Callum Tyler onto the racing line, just obviously really causing Callum Tyler having to brake. Diamond Tucker then on the pit straight, should say, pulled over so far they actually hit, but it seems like he's got his overtake stuck on. Oh no, he hasn't, he's just been using it way too much. So, Clarkey now on Safdar. Safdar still has not pitted. Unbelievable. Jonathan Cox, can he go all the way to the end of the race on 6-lap-old hard tyres, or will he dive onto the soft tyres right at the end? So Extremist is on 14. It'll be interesting to see where these guys start pitting out onto. We know they can do about 17 laps. Well, we know they can probably do about 13 laps. You can see Seam's on that level at the moment. So they'll probably be pitting soon onto another set of medium compound tyres. You can see Diamond Tucker has now dropped into the pits, which has elevated Extremist and Jonathan Cox into 13th and 14th. I am watching those two like a hawk. Sean has carried, he's still, although he lost a fair bit of time to I Am Sloth there, he's still managing to sit in his sort of DRS zone, which is great news for him. Safdar's doing quite well, still in 7th position. He's probably just trying to go as long as possible and then dropping onto the hard compound tyres and trying not to elongate that too much. We're going to go on board with VRL Smithy though, as he gets past Leffy. Can Extremist now maximise, well, can he capitalise on this fighting? Leffy has to back off a little bit. Smithy's now on the inside line. He's probably going to have to defend that, which is going to leave Extremist a bit open to Jonathan Cox there behind, but he's not. He's gotten through. Jonathan Cox is looking up the inside of Leffy. Can Extremist now get ahead into 11th place on this hard compound tyre? We'll have to wait and see. So, Extremist gets ahead into 11th place. It's great news. Wow, that hard compound tyre is doing pretty well for him there. Leffy then gets ahead of VRL Smithy as well. Jonathan Cox is still sitting behind this little pack. Right, going up to Sean, who's still very close to Sloth. He seems to always gain him in this point here, get to him at this point. Right, we're going to keep our eyes on that battle down the bottom, because I don't think it's quite over. However, of course, Smithy is on soft compound tyres. Probably as soon as you see Jonathan Cox has now got past him. So, Extremist now has 5 seconds to make up to get into the points. That's what meant to be. We want to see where people have moved. Safdar still has not pitted. How has Safdar still not pitted? This man is on 20-lap-old medium compound tyres. The only thing I can think he's trying to do is go on to the soft compound tyres. It's the only thing I can think he's trying to do. And if he's trying to do that, he's crazy. As we see, that is a stricken Walker who seems to have gone into the wall there. Luckily, it's not going to be a safety car, but now I Am Sloth is very, very eager to overtake him. Yeah, so Walker has obviously got damage there. Alright, we're going to go back onto the tyre strategy. So Walker's now falling down the order. So, as Leffy gets another 3-second time penalty. Extremist is right on the back of Jonathan Cox is right on the back of Extremist. Can he get back into the points positions as well? We know everyone ahead of them has to pit another time at least. Oh, he's just gone straight into the back of him there, missed his braking zone. That's going to have done a fair bit of damage to his car there. As you see, Walker's now got a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. He's gone into the pits. That's going to elevate these two into the points. So now this is going to be a battle for points as we see Siam and Safdar. Finally, Safdar is into the pits as well as Walker. Safdar's onto the soft compound tyres as I predicted. So now, where is Extremist and Jonathan Cox going to come out? Jonathan He's obviously struggling there on those with that bit of damage there. So Extremist is now up into 9th. Can he get ahead of Walker as well? He can't. Safdar also gets ahead of him. That is a brilliant move from Safdar. Safdar's doing brilliantly here. He's managed to get up from 17th up into 9th and now has soft compound tyres. Walker has mediums. This could be a recovery drive like we've never seen before. We'll have to wait and see as to when everyone else pits where these guys end up. I think Safdar's done a pretty decent chance here of getting some good points. He won't get too far. We see Clarkey, and that was a mistake there from Safdar that we saw there. So Clarkey's now up to 4th place. He's doing really well. Now ahead of Sean, who's obviously lost touch of I Am Sloth, who's currently in 3rd place. You have FT, who's he's just clocked out right from the very start and gone, no, I'm not having any of this. I'm not going to fight with you guys. You guys can fight. You see him now get past Jonathan Cox. He's obviously struggling with this damage that he's got. I wonder whether he's going to pit here. He is, as Extremist gets another 3-second time penalty. So Jonathan Cox pits. Clarkey is really gaining, CM is really gaining on Extremist here with medium, well, very new medium sets of tyres as well. VRL Smithy and Leppy also pit from behind these guys. But Extremist wants that point with Joshy Boy currently in 6th place and Callum Tyler currently in 7th. It's going to be an interesting battle for this 3rd position in the championship at the moment. So CM now gets past Extremist. Safdar is still on the back of Walker. Safdar's doing very well here on these soft compound tyres. He's of course got the advantage of the softs. I think I was about to say, I think 15 laps on these softs is going to be difficult, but he's just done 20 on the mediums. You see now Clarkey and Sloth are now battling wheel to wheel, going through this section. Clarkey just cannot get back on the speed as much as he probably wanted to there for I Am Sloth. So you see Clarkey get another 3-second time penalty. Currently, the only two without time penalties are Safdar and FT. Safdar is very easily looking at the moment to be my driver of the day. He has done absolutely, he didn't set a time lap, he actually retired in qualifying, and now he's fighting for what might be some really interesting points. This is, that's a big moment there for the top 3 should say. Is that going to be a safety car for I Am Sloth? He obviously got onto, has Clarkey got any damage? It's a virtual safety car as we see people now diving into the pits, including FT, including Crazy Bill. Will Clarkey do the same? I think he will. So yeah, I Am Sloth there just got onto the grass, and it just meant that he just completely lost control of his car. Very almost what we saw with, you see Crazy Bill's now on soft compound tyres. This is not what Safdar needed. If he wanted to make up positions, he really needed these pit stops to happen in, same as Extremist, he really needed these pit stops to happen in the normal sort of windows. We see Jake Lee gets the drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, the virtual safety car as well. So Josh Boyce in the pits. Safdar's currently up to 7th now. Clarkey's still in the pits. Let's see where he comes out. He's going to be in 4th place. So Walker and Safdar are now right behind Callum Tyler and Clarkey. See, I Am Sloth is now in the pits. So is Joshy Boy. So Walker goes up the inside of Callum Tyler. That was not surprising at all. Callum Tyler's 10-lap-old medium compound tyres. Let's see if Safdar can do the same. Walker goes very wide there. Callum Tyler's not got any DRS, so let's see if he's going to defend. He is really fighting this. This is where the incident happened between the last two. Safdar does get now up into 6th position. That is amazing. Sort of fight back from Safdar. 20 laps on those medium compound tyres is ridiculous. So I Am Sloth is still in the points. That's still good news for him. He obviously was running in 3rd position with that fight with Clarkey. Clarkey's still in 4th. Sean's now up into 3rd. He's done very well out of all of this on 1-lap-old soft compound tyres. So the interesting thing to think about is the fact that Crazy Bill, as we see I Am Sloth get out in front of Extremist there. Crazy Bill is now gaining time on our race leader FT. FT, who was clocked out right from the very start and has led this race for 25 laps without faltering at all, without finding any issues. As we see, I think that's Callum Tyler with the issue. No, it's not. What is happening at the back there? Who is it? It looks like it's Leppy. I was wondering, I thought it was orange, but no, it was pink. So, Safdar is staying right on the heels of Walker. We're going to go back on board with Ian Sloth, though, who's just fighting with Ziamir. So yeah, FT, who's not really had anything to fight with over the past 26 laps, has now got Crazy Bill in the Mercedes really starting to hunt him down. Let's go on board with Safdar as he backs out of a move on Walker. It looked like he'd done enough there to try and get alongside him, but just couldn't make it work. So Cam Tyler now goes into the pits, which is a shame, I think, for Cam Tyler, because he was doing so well until that virtual safety car happened, which obviously then just demotes him even further. Now he's now pitted. Of course, Safdar and Extremist and Walker would have probably been the biggest beneficiaries if that virtual safety car hadn't happened, because they were in that kind of 23-second window of the guys in front. But because of the virtual safety car, it means that they're not able to gain the time that they wanted to. So Walker's now 5 seconds behind Clay. You've got Safdar, who's now over a second outside of Walker, and I think this is actually still the closest battle on the racetrack. It is. But with the likes of Callum Tyler on very young soft compound tyres, you can expect him chasing that Red Bull of Joshy Boy is going to be easy pickings for him indeed. Yeah, well, in terms of championship battles here, we've got obviously FT, who's currently out in front. He's going to be gaining 25 points at least on Jonathan Cox, unless Jonathan Cox can get himself into the points, which looks unlikely at this point unless it's a late safety car. Which is great news for that, which is great news for us, obviously, as neutrals, to see how this battle out front happens in terms of the championship. Obviously, right behind them, you have the battles for 3rd, 4th and 5th with Joshy Boy, Callum Tyler and Optics, and obviously the Red Bulls and the McLarens. At the moment, it's kind of even, apart from the fact that it looks like, as we said, Callum Tyler's going to be taking that 10th position from Joshy Boy, and the last thing that the Red Bull drivers need is losing 3 points to their rivals. Now, 3 points doesn't sound like a lot, but when the gaps between them are only about less than 10 points, 3 points can really make a difference. So Safdar now within 2/10 of Walker. He's now going to make this move stick, but he's now going to make sure that these... Oh, that's a very late lunge from Walker. What has happened there? Right, well, Walker seemed to really bomb it there and then just cut across Safdar. I'm unsure what happened there. That looked like an overly aggressive move from Walker. As we see, Joshy Boy's now in the pits for soft compound tyres. Yeah, it looked like an overly aggressive move from Walker, as we see Safdar now in 5th place. Whether he's going to keep that 5th place is going to be difficult, I'd say. As we see VRL Smithy gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. I don't know. Anyone watching, what do you think of that incident? Because for me, it looked like Walker completely outbroke himself going into this final chicane. He cuts across, obviously gets a penalty, he's then very slow, and we see Safdar approaching at a very high speed, so he is going to go into the pits. I don't know what had happened before that. Yeah, I thought exactly the same thing. Thank you, Elliot, for making a comment there. He did move very late. The move wasn't bad. It was just so late that it meant that he was, as we see, there's also a 5-second time penalty for Safdar as well. From such a great race for Safdar, that is a big shame. I'll tell you if you're doing well. I am Sloth. I am Sloth has done very well here to get back into 4th position. Of course, he's 12 seconds behind. Oh, that's Jake Lee. I thought that wasn't a ghosted car for a second there. So Safdar comes out into 11th place. It's a shame for him, and we've seen I am Sloth just save his car there. These drivers are really struggling. Right, back on board with Clarkey. So Clarkey, who had a, you know, he had a speed number in front of the VSC, the first VSC. We could see him now get onto the podium with this move on Sean. Sean, who obviously managed to gain a lot of positions under that, not the last VSC, but the VSC before it, being able to pit there. So he managed to come out quite well. Sean's very slow on the brake. You can feel that he's holding Clarkey up a little bit here. Clarkey looks to the inside, thinks better of it, knowing there's DRS zone coming up. So let's see as Sean gets his tyre on the grass. I guess a slap of oversteer, it doesn't do him too well, but I think Sean's just able to save it here, knowing Clarkey, he's going to go it for the big DRS zone after this hairpin. But let's see, yes, he dives down the outside, knowing he's going to get a better run now through this DRS zone. So let's see now how Sean manages to defend this from Clarkey. Back out of that? That looked like he backed out of that, but he might be going for the move here. So he goes round the outside now, through the lapped car, knowing it's the inside for this corner. He just can't make the move stick. Sean is defending very well, but that definitely looked like Clarkey backed out of that last move. I thought he was going to go for it around the outside, as we see Sean dipping his wheel onto the grass there. You know Clarkey has to be careful here. At the end of the day, he is battling for 3rd position, when realistically he should have been out of the race when he got a 5-second time drive-through penalty, you should say. I wonder where he'd be if he didn't have that drive-through penalty. He'd probably be in 2nd place right now, because he was ahead of Crazy Bill. Right, let's wait and see as we see him have a massive swerve of oversteer there. That's not going to be doing him any good. We're going to go down to Josh, your boy, on Safdar now and see if they're going to be in a battle. It doesn't look like they will be. Safdar obviously being up into 11th place at the moment. The two McLarens, that was their name, are doing very well in 7th and 8th. Clarkey's still fighting with Sean here. Right, shall we have a look at where everyone's improved? Sean has done incredibly well to be up into 3rd position at the moment. He's had a great race, but I'm trying to figure out who my driver of the day is going to be, if I'm honest with you, because a lot of these drivers have had very difficult days, a lot of bad accidents, a lot of badly timed virtual safety cars, or very well timed virtual safety cars. As we see Clarkey now, is he going to look up the inside of this? No, he's not. Sean is really defending well here. This is a monumental battle here happening for the final podium place. So, he does, he backs out of it. I don't know what the only thing I can think he's doing is he's backing out of it, knowing that he wants to try and make it last until the final lap. On the final lap he'll make the move, because Sean won't be able to apply the next lap. That's the only reason why I can think of it. Is we see a yellow flag in sector 3. That's I Am Sloth, and once again losing control of his car and just completely planting it into a wall. That's put Siam now up into 5th place. He's probably going to lose another place to Extremist as well. Siam's done very well. He's just kept it clean all race. But talking about clean, let's see where the penalties lie. So I am Sloth's 15 seconds is not going to be doing him any help. As we see, he's now lost even more positions. I think he actually broke again. Safdar's now up into 9th. He's now got 9 seconds penalty. Josh Boy's now into 10th. That's good news for him. He seems to have really struggled on these soft compound tyres. Right, let's have a look at the tyres again. Callum Tyler's done really well. To be honest, I think, just on their defending as well in the last couple of laps. Let's see now, as we go on board with Clarkey, I'm going to have to give my driver of the day. I don't know who I'm going to give it to. I think I am. I'm going to give my driver of the day to Sean. Now here's the reason why. Not only has he made up 7 positions in the race, and he's currently battling for the podium as well as keeping Clarkey very well behind him. Defending in all the right areas. Let's see if he makes the move now. Sean has managed to stay out of trouble when he's been surrounded and battling throughout the entire day. He had those battles every lap on lap in the earlier stages with Extremist, and then of course the virtual safety car happened. He pitted, having to battle his way back up, as we see Clarkey finally make that move. And whilst he won't be getting a podium here today, for me he deserves driver of the day just because of the fact that he's done so well to have all these battles, to have all the carnage happening around him, and still maintain a very good position and come in 4th position after starting. What was he? He was outside of the top 10, wasn't he? No, he's up 5 positions, so he was 9th. A close second for that has to be Callum Tyler, who's done very similar for that, really, apart from making a couple of mistakes. Obviously, Safdar, who had that issue with Walker, probably would have had my driver of the day if it wasn't for mistakes like that, and if it wasn't for the fact that he had that collision with Walker. Now, yes, that was inadvertently his, it wasn't exactly his fault, but for me, it has to go to Sean. He's just done so well throughout this race in that AlphaTauri. So we're going to stay on board with him now as he goes round this. Actually, we're going to go up to FT as he's now finished the race. Crazy Bill comes in second. FT is the only person not to have got any penalties. Clarkey is now going to come home in 3rd position, I believe. He's just going around the final corner, as long as he doesn't lose it here. So Clarkey comes home in 3rd. Well done to him. Sean comes home in 4th. No, Sean does get a podium, so even more. Because of the penalties, Sean does get the podium. Siam now coming home in 5th. A very good race for Siam. Another person who stayed out of the trouble the entire time. See him rounding this final corner now. Let's see if he's going to wreck his car as well. So Siam coming home in 5th place. That's really well done for him. Callum Tyler in 6th. Very good race for him. Have to hand it to Extremist, managed to make a one-stop work in 7th. You then have, so actually Extremist comes home in 6th. Safdar does get 8th. That's really well done for him. Jonathan Cox in 9th. Joshy Boy in 10th. So a point for the Red Bull team. Diamond Tucker now in 11th, I believe. They like ruining their cars, don't they? Brilliant race though. Honestly, a really, really brilliant race. I think honestly you've had some brilliant battling throughout the entire thing, and mine, as much as Safdar gets their driver of the day, and thoroughly deserved for that, I do agree. He's done very, very well. I have to give it to Sean, because he just managed to keep it so consistent throughout the entire race, having those battles, fighting off and keeping Clarkey behind him. He does really well. Full props to FT. Brilliant race for him. He's managed to gain so many points on his championship rival. But my driver of the day definitely goes to Sean in 3rd position in the AlphaTauri. We'll get our final classification, and then I will leave you guys to your evenings. So we have FT in first, Crazy Bill in second, you have Sean third, that makes up your podium. You then have Clarky, Siam, Extremist, Callum Tyler, Safdar, Jonathan Cox and Joshy Boy making up the top 10, with Diamond Tucker, VRL Smithy, I Am Sloth, Tango, Leppy, Jake Lee all making up the finished runners, with Walker, Liam and Saki all DNFing. I've been that Craig, you've been you. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to see more racing game content like this. If you want to make sure you watch as many races as possible, we do have a race on every single day, so make sure to join our Discord, to message us if you want to do that. If you want to join Discord and you want to join the league, please let us know. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful evening and a great week. Speak to you soon.